Welcome back to another Design Lead playthrough, and this one from another designer who I don't know of, so tvrwill, and we've got a really cool concept here with just loads of fairway, bunkers, kind of Augusta-ish in that it's fairway, pine straw, bunkers and pretty much it. Now the one thing I did notice on this one that I think is hurting us a little bit, your lighting very high and very clear. So I'm going to pause you a sec and we're going to see whether we can change that, because I think it's unlikely to show the course off at its best. Let's have a little look. So we're back, and what I've done is changed it to dusk because your lighting was really high and clear, and I think you'll just see the shadows and the bunkers and everything just pop a little bit more. Same with the undulations. Now it's kind of a double-edged sword. You're going to have some shadows on the greens that you wouldn't have had. I'm obviously not going to talk about those, but I think it's just going to make the whole course look a little bit better. Just the high noon lighting doesn't help you at all. It makes everything more difficult, and I think it's a really cool look. As you see, the wide openness means you can go with this quite low lighting. You're not going to have a huge amount of shadows, and when you do, there only tend to be in one space. So yeah, clearly 350 by 800. I mean, that is the name of the course. I love the dense planting around it. I love these dense little tree islands. I just think this one immediately speaks to me in terms of how wide you've got everything and what we can look at. Now bunkers, yeah, so you've done, I think, again, kind of as expected with the lighting stuff, it's things that newer guys don't tend to make. If you're dumping them, if you're putting them right in the fairway with fairway wrapped right close to the bunker, you're going to want to spline these. Otherwise you get these awkward little rough transitions that you just can't avoid. Or, like, there's another way of doing it, which is like splining fairway around them and just filling it all in with rough. But you'll want to tidy that up, and there are tutorials out there. That said, I really like the whole design. Simple, like you've got a very narrow part here, or you can try and go over the bunkers. Like maybe with this wind we could try, or if not, we're bailing out here and you've got a less good angle into this pin. I think it works really well. Straightforward. I think we'll go dead at it and just see. Hopefully we get a fast, because that's what I tend to get, and I am playing to short side myself here, which leaves me with a pitch. Not my favourite shot. The denseness of the planting behind the green looks really good. I think that works well. Your choice of trees is great. There's lots to like here. Yeah. Now, I do think you could ramp up the greens a little bit, and part of that is, again, we're looking at kind of newer designer stuff. You set your greens at default speed, so 144s. That's actually really slow. I'd recommend like toning them up to at least 170. Now, the numbers we're talking about are not the ones you'll see when you're looking at green speed. You'll see something like 6.5. You want to go like anywhere like 7 or above, really. And that'll make them play infinitely better. Little par 3, again, I like it. I like where you've tucked these in. Negative space is great, like width and openness here, blocking out your view here. Planting's good. I'd recommend sinking the bushes so you don't get these little stalks at the bottom. It's a bit more time consuming, but it will look way better. And it is maybe a bit overcrowded here when you look at the volume of items you've got in there. But it's working well. Got quite a lot of wind. I like the backstop behind the green. The two bunkers are well placed. The green slopes make sense. Green may be a touch on the small side, but like I say, I think it works well. Oh, I might need to go. Got away with it. I think the other thing with really slow greens is it will tend to. Oh, there's a putt. It will tend to minimise any miss and like the effectiveness of it. So if I short side myself on a 144s, like it's pretty easy to get up and down. Okay, so we're starting to get into some of the more undulating fairways, and that was our first tee box, wasn't it? I think you could smooth some of these slopes out a little bit, but it works. Again, I mean, sightline's great, seeing all the way along there to on a relatively flat hole. We're going to find a bunker. The bunkers are well placed. Ah, definitely. Slopes are decent as well, like they make sense. Right, there's lots going for this one. So I'm going to have to lay up, and I'm probably in pitch shot distance again. Of course we are. It's not the shot we wanted. It's good par 5. It's a shame I didn't end up getting into those flowers are a little bit giant. I think we could downside those a touch. Yeah, I wish I was playing into that green in 2. Would look great. So I think you've engineered a really good second shot, and that bunker took me out of it. My fault completely. I think you're probably hazarding a little bit too heavily at 295 of just, here's a bunker, do you want to take it on or not? You can do a bit more strategic hazarding, whether you're encouraging players to go one side or the other. Kind of did that on the first, and since then it's just been, here's a bunker in your way, can you avoid it? Oh, got away with that one. This green could use something around it. Or like, if it is in the middle of... If it's just a green with no hazards, I'd expect the slopes on the green to be more severe than these. I think if you raise the green speeds to say, if I'd set these greens to fast, I think we'd see a completely different course, and it would be playing better. It just needs a little bit more bite, I think. Overhit that one. But loving the ideas, and I think the big ideas have been really good so far. I like that we've gone drivable par 4. Worry that tee is a little in the way, given that our safe miss is out this side. It's not. It's really not a big deal. I feel like just playing a 3-wood up here makes more sense. Close-ish to the bunker. Bunker sculpting has generally been okay. I think you'll want to lower the fronts of them a little more, show off the sand, because they were, and that will help them be more visible off the tee. Of course we get a slow. Always happens when between clubs. Good decision on a short hole to put the pin on a bit more of a dicey slope. That works well. Yeah, I mean the angle play is good. Here I do wish you had got a little bit more of a hazard, but ground contours work well. Obviously this pin we want to be closer to the left hand side. And the amount of width you've provided, this is great. Probably just wants to be a bit more consequence. I don't love this pin just being raised up on one tiny little plateau where all slopes fall away from the pin. I think generally if you can make it so that, as you can see, everything is running away. If you can make it so that we're not falling away on all sides, falling away on 3 sides is fine, just 4 feels a little bit penal. Because there's basically no good miss to that pin. And you also can get, if you were to speed these greens up, a putt like that would be fraught with danger because you might roll down the other side and then you just go back and forth and back and forth. So I mean, which is fine if you're allowing me a miss long, because then I'm punished for missing laterally and that adds an element of strategy. Just, yeah, you just got to be careful with crown pins. There we go. But yeah, really enjoyed that. I do think there's a few things that are just like hopefully once I've said them, you're just like, oh, okay, that's what we need to change, and that'll make a big difference. Like green speeds, lighting, yeah, bunker placement. But the general strategies you've got going there are really good. And I confess, when I opened it up and saw the noon lighting and like the default speeds, I was a bit worried as to how it would play. There's a lot of good there, and you know what you're doing. Yeah, just look forward to seeing where you go from here, and great to see you in Design League, and hope that this has helped. Best of luck.